Hello YouTubers, here's a little video I've been wanting to do for a little while here. This is going to be the 50 amp, you get that, the people that will tell you, oh, you got a 50 amp, you can't plug it in 240 volts, and there's kind of that misconception there, whether a 50 amp fifth wheel camper runs on 240 volts or if it runs on 120. Yeah, technically everything inside of your fifth wheel trailer. So if you start at the nose of my fifth wheel and go all the way to the back bumper, everything in between will run at 120 or 12 volts DC, which is standard in any RV trailer. But my trailer, 50 amp, is technically 240 volts at 50 amps. So when you split that 240 volts, you split it down to 120 volts, you have two legs of 120 volts at 50 amps. So technically you have 100 amps at 120 volts. So, I mean, don't think you're just going to be able to power, 100 amps worth of surfaces, because you have separate breakers for different rooms, different electronics, and different items inside your fifth wheel trailer or RV, or I don't know if they make very many travel trailers with 50 amp, but if they do, well, you're split service. What I can say is I have ran 3 15 amp heaters throughout my camper, vacuum cleaners, TVs, microwaves, cooking a pizza, convection microwave for like 20 minutes, multiple other items, at the same time. Had no problem whatsoever. Breaker outside at the county park wasn't even getting warm, which is crazy. Most 30 amp campers that I've camped in, you'll run a electric heater on high, around 12 to 15 amps, and one on low, 8 to 10 amps, rough estimate here, right off the top of my head. In anything more than that, you run a coffee maker or something, you're popping a fuse. I mean, you're popping the breaker. In here, you can do whatever you want, for the most part. I've never tripped a 50 amp breaker in my RV, and I've gone over the edge. But, just a little diaphragm here. You can see I have a double pole breaker, 50 amp. There's 120 volts, 50 amps leading this way, and 120 volts leading this way at 50 amps. Now, what I really hate about these campers is they put all your bigger appliances, the most commonly used ones, on one side, and then all the least items inside your fifth wheel that you are going to use, they put on the other side. I wish they split it up a little bit more, so that way one line of your 120 volts is less used, but in this way, it's one's more used and one's less used. It should be more evened out. But basically on this left side, you can see here I have my main, which is basically them two. Okay, then on the left side I have the air conditioner, the one up front. I don't have a second air conditioning. I do have the wiring built in for the second air conditioning, but I do not have it installed. Sooner or later I will. Then I have the water heater. That's a nice big, 1800 watt water heater. Then after that I have the living room, which has TV, cable, and that includes the fireplace, which in my opinion that kind of sucks. And also I believe this one also includes the vacuum cleaner, which them use anywhere between 8 to 12 amps. Then you have your kitchen, which is you're talking refrigerator. If you're running electric griddles, electric tops, you gotta put all that in the mind. Coffee makers, and that itself is on a 20 amp breaker. Then you will have your microwave. In my case, I have a convection microwave, so I can use it to bake and everything, so it uses a little bit more power than the average traditional microwave. But that itself is on a 15. And then you just have the bedroom, which normally I run an electric heater up here, charge your cell phones, which don't use crap, and fans and anything like that. So as you can see, this is your main. I mean, this is the most items you're going to be using inside of an RV right here. Now on my right side, I have kitchen 2, which basically runs a outlet. There's one outlet in there that runs off this, and honestly, I don't even know what else runs off this breaker. They kind of, I wish they had more detail. Then next to that, you have 20 amp breaker, your washer and dryer area. That's if you're in the fifth wheel with our motorhome, or maybe in a trailer that does have it equipped built in. I do not have a washer and dryer in here yet, but I'm going to be installing it. But that itself is on a 20 amp breaker. There's 2 plugs in there, one for the washer, one in the dryer, both on the same 20 amp breaker. Then I also have a second breaker here, which is a 15 amp, and that runs 3 outlets inside of the living room, which is kind of dumb to me, to be honest with you. I feel like this should be more split between, the fireplace should just be on here, and then the TV and all the outlets should be on that side, but it's not. This is Dick's. Honestly, I don't even know what the hell this is. Maybe I'll figure it out one day, but to be honest with you, I've shut this breaker off before, and I really haven't noticed anything not working. So, and also I want to prove out before I forget, the bedroom also runs the outlet outside, so if you want to plug in a coffee maker or something out there, that runs that outlet outside. So I feel like one of these outlets over here could easily, the breaker's out over on this side, could easily run something over there. Now, thankfully, they have these last 2 on this side, and this one is the converter. Now, most people in a travel trailer, your converter won't be such a big deal, but on my camper, as you can see here, it has the 1550 watt power converter system, which, it's only going to draw even probably half that if your battery's really low, or if you have multiple batteries. I did end up installing a second battery inside this fifth wheel just for that extra amperage hours. But like I said, it's not needed in every scenario. And you're not going to be drawing close to that. And now that I've switched to all LED lighting, this inverter, I'd never hear it wind up anymore. It used to sit here and I'd be sleeping, and other people would be up and have lights on inside the RV, and I could just hear this thing humming in here. Now with LED lighting, I don't have to worry about that. But I do like that is on a separate side from everything else. And then last but not least, you have second AC. There's a second AC unit that I can install. It's pre-wired and everything, but I haven't got around to it. And at this moment, I really don't need it. Last year, camping all summer, I had like 2 times where I would have thought that I would have needed it. But other than that, I really don't. But I like that it's on the separate side. Like I said, I wish they would have switched some of these out and, swap them and put them on that side, just to make it more even. Wow, that's stuck on there, man. I've had that open for a while. I like to leave this open because I've messed with it a lot. But with that misconception, like I was saying, on your, for most people that are going to be watching this video, on your 30 amp campers, you have the 3-prong. It looks like the I want to say mobile home dryer outlets. It's not a dryer outlet. Don't, here's my disclosure, don't plug a 3-prong camper 30 amp 120 volt cord into a 240 volt 3-prong dryer outlet. Don't do that. Then 30 amps, you have your ground, neutral, and hot. 1 on each wire, obviously. But on your 50 amp, you have the 4-prong. You have your round plug at the top, neutral, Then, I'm sorry, your ground. Then you have left and your right. There are two flat prongs. They're pretty long, about a 1/4 inch long, and them are your two hots. And then at the bottom you have your neutral. And it's the same looking flat prong. Okay, so and them cables are freaking thick, man. I mean, they're insane. They're thicker than most welding cables. Your 30 amp is cut down, and then your normal extension cord is a lot smaller than that, obviously. But the way it goes is basically your 50 amp camper is as long as you have. I'm not saying go out there and just like, ooh, my camper has 4 prongs. My welder outlet has, or air compressor outlet has 4 prongs. I'm just gonna slap it in there. If you know how to use a multimeter, do it. If you're measuring 120 volts between your two hots, you're gonna be okay. I mean, if you have 240 volts between two hots, or 120 between the two hots and the neutral, you're great. I've just seen it so many times. You can't plug in your 50 amp camper into a dryer outlet. And most of the time, yeah, you can't. You can't take the 3 prong 240 volt. I mean, you can make an adapter, and yeah, you can do it that way. Is it safe? Not necessarily. Is it the right way of doing it? No. But can you do it in a jiff? Okay, you can. There's that. I also have a generator that I use. It's a Duramax. Um, I think it's like a 4400 watt. Yeah. Um, that has a selection between 120 volts and 240. Now, when I plug it into my camper, I have the 4-prong twist lock, 240 volt, 30 amp connection, and it adapts to my 50 amp camper plug. And I use that, and I run it on 240 volts. Works perfectly fine. Runs both sides of my breaker panel. If I unplug it, and switch it to 120 volts and twist lock it, it runs both sides of my breaker panel. Same thing. But the difference is when I run it on 240 volts, now I had 30 amps on each side of that panel, and I showed you I had all my necessities, mainly used items on the left side, and my most least used accessories and everything inside my fifth wheel on the right side. So basically, when I run it on 240 volts, I get to use 30 amps over here and 30 amps over here. Now, if I run it at 120 volts between that split phase, basically split hot, I can only use 15 amps over here and 15 amps over here. So yes, your 50 amp fifth wheel motorhome travel trailer, if you have a 50 amp, does run off of 240 volts. Is there a misconception to that? Yes, there is greatly misconception to that. But there's good reason for it, and I see that some people just have a tough time understanding the way electricity works. And yeah, me myself, I feel like it's like a second nature to me. I've always felt that way. I grew up walking blenders around the block. If anybody knows what that means, you can have your own little laugh there too, because I sure the hell did. But certain people get it. It's just a certain thing. But this is just a breakdown for it for some people. Just a little tag along to this video. For people out there, who started in tents, boondocking in tents, and then they went up to, camping in tents in county parks, using like 15 amp service. Great. Then he went up to 30 amp service, using the travel trailers, and then you figured, hey, that ain't enough for me. I'm power hungry. Boom, I want to get a 50 amp, and as soon as he hit that 50 amp, whoa, You know, holy shit, you can use a lot more power. It's like living at home, power need wise. But for most of you that are just gonna kind of go out there, or maybe you're on the market for a camper or something like that, if you find yourself using a lot of, don't want to use your propane as much, or you feel that you're really power hungry, definitely go 50 amp. Okay. I've always been when I'm at home, I'm not power hungry, but when I'm out camping and I'm hooked up to shore power, I I feel the need to use it when I have it, and when I don't have it, then I prioritize. Oh god, I didn't even say that right. Prioritize. Okay. But when I have it, I like it, and I like to use it. So with this 50 amp, it kind of blew my mind going from tent camping, having 10 15 amps when you're at a park, boondock, and they have nothing, to being in this thing. I can use whatever I want. I mean, honestly, it's crazy. I mean, there's no worry. Um, hey, you want to plug this in? Hey, you want to turn this on? Go right ahead. You know, your 30 amp, it's nice, but I mean, you got to think about it. You're going from your 30 amp camper to a 50 amp. Most people will look at it who are on the market. Oh, it's only 20 amps more from a 30 amp to a 50 amp. No, you're going from 30 amps to 100 amps. But like I said, that breaker panel is usually split in a very crappy way. In the future, I would like to switch some of them circuits, just switch the wires and relabel everything, which I'm probably going to do, to be honest with you. Some of the things that are not highly used, I would like to have evenly distributed. Instead of running 45 amps on, the left side and running like 15 amps on the right side, why not even it out? So you're running like 20 on each, or something like that. I feel like that makes more sense to me. But that's just me. But just a suggestion to people out there who are looking to purchase um, 50 amp between 30 amp. In my opinion, go 50 amp. I mean, it's so much less on your mind. It's like one of them things. Like when you go out camping, you gotta put all this away, and you gotta do all this and all that to put something away, just so you can hit the road. It takes that. It's like the same feeling of taking that extra, bugger off your back. Um, it just makes things easier, in my opinion. I could go into more detail. I'm pretty sure in a future video I'm going to show you guys me running off the generator um, between 240 volts and 120. Just kind of show you what really the difference is. Um, it's most standard, I guess you could say. I mean, just trying to get rid of the accusations and everything about these 50 amp, because I guess there's a lot of misconceptions about it, and people out there that are actually misconcepting it. I do see that they're trying to, they have the right intentions. They just don't want people, buying these, 50 amp campers are usually more expensive, uh, in general, and they just don't want you plugging them in and frying all your devices and all your accessories and everything inside your camper. Because, to be honest with you, that'd be fucking horrible. If you feel like you got a mind straight on electricity, which I understand electricity is hard to understand for most people out there, check into it a little bit, okay? If you have to, hire someone to help you with it. But it's definitely doable. If there's a will, there's a way. You'll figure it out, right? Just don't, oh, if I do this, it'll work. So I said, definitely disclaimer on this video. whatever I show you guys, don't go out there and just do it willy-nilly. Look into it a little bit. Do your research, man. You know. Alright. Well, I hope you guys enjoy. Thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe if you think it helped you. And thank you for watching.